Welcome to the Excel U. My name is Mike Swenson, and today we'll be reviewing the VLOOKUP and trim formulas. The worksheet we'll be working on today is available at my website, theexcelu.com. Go to the search bar and type in Session 1 VLOOKUP Trim Formulas, and you'll find a blog post that will contain the Excel worksheet, so you can work along with me today if you'd like. Today's session will deal with the VLOOKUP function. I feel this is probably the most powerful formula in Excel. It's one that I use on a daily basis. You can use it to look up data from one table and put it into another without having to key in the data separately. So here's an example I've created of weekly sales for a bike shop. Now this weekly sales report that we received has the selling price, but we'd like to add the unit cost for each of the items that was sold. So to the right you'll see I have a product cost list right here. And we could just take this and go in and type in each of the unit costs. And we only have 18 lines, so it wouldn't take us too long. But as you can imagine, if we had 8,000 lines, this could take forever. So we'll be using the VLOOKUP function to enter the cost into our sales table. The VLOOKUP function can be found on the Formulas tab. Go to Lookup and Reference. It's down at the bottom. It's called the VLOOKUP. Now you'll enter the first field in the formula is the lookup value. This is the value you'd like to look up on your table. So for our case, we're going to be looking up the blue bike, or cell C4. So click on cell C4. Then you're going to go to your table array. This is the table in which you want to retrieve your costs. So our table for this example is going to be I through J. Now, in our table, we want to return the cost, which is column 2. Column 1 is the item, column 2 is the cost. So we're going to type in column 2. We want to return that cost. The range lookup, this will be false. What false will give you an exact match. So we want to only return an exact match for bike horn. If we put true, it will give us an exact match or the next closest value. So if there wasn't an exact match in our table, it would not give us an error. It would provide us with the next closest value. So we're going to type in false. So as you can see here, the blue bike cost $85, and we can go to our product cost sheet and confirm that. Now we can double click on the right hand corner and fill in the rest of the cells. So you can see each of the costs was dropped into our sales transaction table. I have created a second example, and this you'll run across when you export data. So we're going to go ahead again and insert our VLOOKUP function, but this time instead of selecting our table as I through J, I'm going to just call this my product cost table. So to do that, I need to highlight my table, and then I go up on the Formulas tab and I say Define Name, and my defined name is going to be Product Cost, and you cannot have any spaces. Say OK. So now that's defined our table as product costs. So you can see where I'll use that in the VLOOKUP formula. So again here, I'm going to go to Lookup and Reference, down to VLOOKUPs. Again, I will select C4 as my lookup value, and this is where I'm going to put in product cost for my table, and that's what we defined just a moment ago. I'm still going to want to return column 2, and again my lookup value will be false. And as you can see here, we got an error. Now when we look at it, the blue bike is still on our product cost table, and it should be returning us $85, we'd assume. But when we go to the blue bike and we click on the line, you can see this time when we exported our data, it gave us some trailing spaces. And when we go to our product cost table, there are no trailing spaces. So there's an easy fix for that. We want to trim off those trailing or even preceding spaces in our item name. So to do that, all we do is go into the formula and type in trim and then put parentheses around C4. And this will eliminate those preceding or trailing spaces. And now it'll display our $85 cost. So we're able to take this formula, again, right click, and bring the formula down and display all of our product costs. As I mentioned earlier, normally when you select the lookup range, you want it to be false. Well, what happens if you select it to be true? Well, I came up with an example to illustrate this where you could actually use a true statement. Here is a lender interest rates. So on the left we have the table of our customers with their credit scores, and on the right we have the interest rates that are associated with our credit scores. So if you have a credit score of 0, you're going to pay an interest rate of 20%. A credit score of 300 to 400 or 300 or greater, you're going to pay 10%. 400 or greater, 8%. 500 or greater, 6%. And 600 or greater, you're going to be even 4%. So again, we're going to use our VLOOKUP formula. And this time I'm just going to type in the formula. As you can see, our lookup value will be B4. That is our credit score. Our table array, again, will be G through H, or we could have defined a name for it. We're going to return column 2, the interest rate, and this time we're going to put true for an approximate match. So as you can see, this credit score for Bill Smith is 400, and it returned 8%. And that would have worked even if we would have put false, because it is an exact match. But now for Jane Doe, her credit score is 550. 550 is not a value that's on our report, but what we wanted to return is 6% because she has a credit score of greater than 500. So we'll drag it down. As you can see, it returns 6%. Same for Carl Allen. He has a credit score of 630. Well, 630 is not on our interest table, but it should return 4% interest rate because he's over 600. And as you can see, it does. And for Debbie Thompson, she has a 250 credit score, so she should get the 20% rate. And as you can see, they do display correctly. Now you can change these easily to decimal places by right-clicking and changing to percentage, and there are your percentages. And I did want to take 1 second to show you a quick function here. If you hit Control Title, it will display the formulas for you. So if you ever wanted to see which cells had formulas in them and which did not, you just hit Control Title and it'll display the formulas. And here you can see your formulas again. So you can see your VLOOKUP formulas. And your credit scores are, as you can see, are just an entered amount. The final tab you'll find on the worksheet is just a step-by-step review that we've gone through today. So it'll allow you to do this same tutorial without having to listen or watch the video. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please be sure to check out my website at theexcelu.com for additional free Microsoft Excel training. Also be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn by going to mikeonlinkedin.com. Have a great day.